Good evening. It is a little past 9 o'clock on a Thursday night. That can mean only one thing. We are halfway through the NFL season, ladies and gentlemen. I was wishing for it to come, and then we thought it'd be the longest season of our lives, and it turns out it's not. It's actually flying by because time's quite fun when you have the MVP of the league. Joining me tonight, the usual faces, Ed, Nathan. Halfway through the season, gents, how are we feeling?
Go on, Ed. You kick us off.
I don't know. I don't really. I am feeling in a very, very good place, which I didn't know if I didn't know we'd be here after sort of 8-9 weeks. So yeah, feeling good, man. Feeling good.
Nathan?
Yeah, same. I mean, I kind of try and joke about it weekly, but you know, I had the Colts winning maybe 3 games this year in what looks like the biggest overreaction by a very minor YouTuber in the history of covering the Colts. I mean, you know, they completely proved me wrong, right? But no, it's surreal. It feels surreal for many reasons. A, that we are 7-1. But B, that like I can keep joking about it with friends, and you know I can keep bringing it up at random times that we're like the best team in the league, and we actually statistically are. You know, it's just crazy, and I think we owe a lot to Steichen kind of backing himself. I think that's a lot what it can come down to, and obviously we give Ballard a very hard time on this channel, but. You know, he's kind of sticking a finger up at us in one way, but yeah, it feels amazing. Colts are really in play right now.
Yeah, so how many times over the dinner table have you two said to your families, your parents, your kids that the Colts are 7-1 and Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor are MVP? Because I've said it far too many times. They don't no idea what I'm on about, but they will learn. So for those watching, thank you for joining us tonight. We love you being here. It's amazing to talk about football with more than just myself and a brick wall. Although Daniel Jones seems to play behind the brick wall and the Colts offensive line, who just embarrassed the Titans, all ends up. We'll talk quickly about the game. We'll do a little spiel on that. And then after that, we're going to go into the season upsets, surprises, shocks. Halfway through, who's where we thought they were, who's not, what's been the best and worst moments so far, that sort of thing, like you usually get on these shows. So let's jump into it. The Colts on Sunday evening, 8:25 kickoff because our clocks go back a week before America, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
So it was a weird kickoff time, but that didn't throw the Colts off by any means, as apart from the first quarter, it was pretty much what we expected. The Titans were cowardly and crap, and the Colts were efficient and did the job. Who wants to go first with their initial headline on the Colts Titans?
Go on, if you go first.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say something that I would have regretted then. Complete cowardice coaching decision. The decision to punt on the 4th and 3, I think, was enough to leave that guy in the locker room and kind of release him, you know, the interim head coach of Tennessee. You know, this season is now about developing Cam Ward. For me, it's not about them winning games because, quite frankly, I don't think they're going to win any more games. As a team, they probably should be, you know, 0-17 finishing the year. It's just completely delusional to expect anything more. It's really harsh of me, I guess, but you know, from what I've seen of the Titans so far, so just that complete cowardness to punt, and I believe, I'm happy to be fact checked, but they only gained like 22 or 23 yards of field position by doing that. Just go for it. They were driving, and I mean, I honestly think they would have scored. You know, the momentum was with them. It looked like they were kind of marching up the field, and then with all due respect, the Colts just destroyed them from that moment onwards. Obviously, we had the 80-yard Taylor run immediately after it. But, it was just a very complete performance by Indianapolis. A slow one to start, you could argue, with how kind of hot and fiery the offense has been. But, again, it's that unfamiliar feeling for Colts fans of like, this is okay. It's okay that we started slow because we're going to, it's really hard to get used to the fact, boys. And I'm looking maybe to see if you agree or disagree, but I'm almost becoming comfortable with every time we get the ball, we're going to score points. Regardless of how bad it was to go on a defensive drive or something. So, I think cowardly coaching truly cost them because, hindsight's a wonderful thing. But I think they would have been within 7 if they converted on that score. And then, Colts are in a completely different spot. But, what about you, Ed?
I agree with everything you just said there. And that was one of my key takeaways. Well, I think the Titans are truly terrible this year. I would go so far as saying, I'll stick with me when I say this because it's never, I don't mean the winning, but I would go so far as saying it was just a bit boring. It was just this Colts team. Yeah. To use your phrase there, Nathan, sort of just ruthless. They just they just go for the kill. And it's not boring. Winning is never boring. That's not what I mean by it.
I understand what you're saying.
As a game, it wasn't really a contest, was it? The Colts just kind of took one look at the Titans and went, all right, and just went for them, finished them, and then just kind of went and sat back down again. It wasn't really much of a contest as far as I was concerned, which, again, to your point, Nathan, even more so, 4th and 3 around the middle of the field, just fucking go for it. Like, your season's done. Done. It's not even Halloween yet. Like, what are you doing? Like, you might as well at least. The only thing, again, just I don't want to sort of copy what you're saying, Nathan, but you've just got to see what Cam Ward's about this year. That's all you've got left to play for this year, Tennessee. There's nothing else going for you. So what are you giving the ball back to our offense, knowing that they're going to score points on you? That's all that's going to happen. Whether you turn the ball over there because you don't convert the 4th down, or you give it back to us, and I think you're right. I think the net gain was like 21 yards once we brought it back. We're still going to score points on you. There's no real difference. You might as well just go for it. But yeah, other than that, like I say, I don't mean boring. I just mean that the Colts are, I think, the most efficient team in the NFL. They are scoring, 3.72 points per drive or something at the moment, I think is their average.
30 points a game, mate.
30. They are just efficiently good at what they're doing. So the Titans just, not unfortunately, but from a contest point of view, it was never going to be. If you're a neutral and and this is the game that Sky are putting on, I'd be pretty pissed off, to be honest with you, because it wasn't a game. From a Colts perspective, I love it because you can never get bored of watching your team deliver a beatdown, and we know that as a fan base, it's been a while since we can go into games with confidence. Nathan, you're messaging on the group chat. Me and Harrison have always got that cynicism inside us, I think. Nathan, you're the reason, the calming voice in the group chat, saying, look, boys, this isn't even going to be a contest. I'm so confident. And you're right. I just can't quite let go of my fear. Just I just can't let it, my city, I just can't let it go. But yeah, that was my main takeaways from the game. It was just, we won. That was it. Move on. We've got them out of the way. Let's move on to tougher challenges, which clearly lie ahead. We're moving on to bigger and better things. They're moving on to probably minimum top 3 pick. Could be number 1 pick again.
Yeah. I mean, my sort of thoughts, I was annoyed with Shane Steichen in the first quarter because I thought he was playing with his food. And I thought, I know he has a long-time connection to the interim head coach of the Titans. And I think maybe he just sort of there was a bit of mercy there and a bit of, respect. And I thought, nah, mate, you don't show that. You go in, especially a game like that, a divisional game, because regardless who they are, like we know in other sports, regardless of where your rival is in the league or leagues or whatever, derby games, it just all goes out the window. Just everything goes out the window. And I always thought we was going to win, but I thought, stop messing around. I was literally like, stop messing around and just put these to bed. Like, get to the end of the third quarter, 30 points up, put in Riley Leonard and all the backups, which we pretty much did. And I've just got to say it, like, the level of like protection and he's a rookie and let's hype him up and he can do so good. Cam Ward's getting compared to what Anthony Richardson got, they can go and do one, because from what I watched of him in that game, and yes, he's a rookie and Richardson's been in the league 3 years, but you look at the age and with injuries and the actual snap count, and Cam Ward's nowhere near Richardson. Nowhere near. Go on, Ed. Because I'll tee you up with that, mate, because I'm going to just jump over to my laptop.
I'm just going to just sort of on that point with the Anthony Richardson thing. I think people forget his first sort of 4 games before he got that first shoulder injury. Like, he came into the league like an absolute wrecking ball, didn't he? And we were all, I mean, I know we weren't really doing this at the time. I know you guys were, but I wasn't involved with you. But watching it thinking, wow, we've got a proper player. Then he got the shoulder injury and he got knocked out for the year. And it was a bit like, no, But do you remember the excitement we had? Like, in those 4 games that Richardson kind of gave us, I don't think Cam Ward's kind of generated that kind of buzz, has he really? I know it fizzled out quickly for Richardson, but yeah, to Harrison's point there, I think people got very short memories about what Richardson, when he first came into the league, he did come in hot, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like that kind of unwritten question with him, isn't it? What can he be? And I really don't think Indianapolis will experience that now.
No,
I think Richardson's going to become the next sort of Justin Fields-esque player. I think he'll bounce a little bit, maybe go to the New York Jets, possibly go to Carolina, maybe the Titans, some of the Steelers, maybe something like that. We will not see this exercise. I think Jones will get a bag of money at the end of the year, and Richardson will be traded for probably a 5th or 6th rounder, maybe something like that.
Yeah, I could see him potentially Minnesota being a potential fit for him to sit behind JJ, or potentially the only one that would not concern me, but it'd be interesting to see if Sean McVay got hold of him.
Yeah, many people have kind of in the media have kind of speculated that too, haven't they? But I mean, the problem with McVay and the Rams, I think, is like, I don't think they're able to have an off year now. Like if Richardson went there and ended up being, really poor again, not doing the basics, maybe doing the one wonder throw a game sort of thing, I don't even think he'd see the 4th quarter in
mate, that's a good point.
Remember, they have the Falcons' 1st round pick, and if the Falcons keep being as bad as they are, LA could package those firsts up to go get a new quarterback if they wanted one.
Oh God, yeah, man, the Rams. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, bloody Rams.
I know. Anyway, they're in prime position to get one of the best passes in the draft if they so desire.
Wow.
Anyway, my laptop's decided not to work, so back to the phone. But just typical. So yeah. Where was you up to? Sorry, I could have just jumped back in.
We went off on an Anthony Richardson tangent because we'd all forgotten that he is still a quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. And because you were talking about Cam Ward, I just thought it was, and you're right, Cam Ward as a number 1 pick doesn't seem to be getting the same level of scrutiny that Richardson has had.
Yeah, but yeah. So the Colts won a pretty easy game. I mean, like we said, it's probably the worst game for a podcaster because there's not much to talk about. I thought on the plus side, Chris Lamons, another great game, coming along very nicely. Nick Cross, excellent. I actually thought Jermaine Pratt had a pretty decent game as well, and our inside defensive line had another good game. Neville Gallimore, double A. I can never pronounce his name. Buck and Grove. You know, the pieces are starting to come together for the Colts. So let's get into just your biggest surprise of the season. And I'll happily start. Apart from, I'm going to take myself away from saying the Colts and not make this Colts-centric because everybody, including all of the national media, would say the Colts. Maybe apart from a few homers. But my biggest surprise of the season is it's got to be how bad the Cincinnati Bengals have been. I mean, a few other teams have been really bad, but you sort of expect it. A lot of transitional teams this year, I'd say. Mm-hmm. But just, again, refusing to protect your franchise quarterback. And now you're trying to win, because we've been there. We was there last year, guys, trying to win games with Uncle Joy, or Grandpa Joy, shall we say. To me, if I was a Bengals fan, I'll be scared that my team is about to enter purgatory hell. And then we could say that as Colts fans. So, Nathan, your just biggest surprise of the season, good or bad?
I would definitely have to say the kind of change in the quarterback leaderboard that we usually see. I think for fantasy reasons and for talent reasons, people would pick the same 5 quarterbacks every year, and we'd argue until we were blue in the mouth about who's first and who's second. But, if I just quickly fire through the top 10, right, I'm just going off passing yards, right, just, who's slinging it the most. Justin Herbert, Pat Mahomes, so there's your one, that's one of your top 5 that you'd argue. Dak Prescott, Indiana Jones, Drake May, Baker Mayfield, Matthew Stafford, Bo Nix, Jordan Love, and Sam Darnold.
Sammy D.
Who projected Drake May being as good as he's been this year? Who projected Baker Mayfield being, one of probably the kind of clutchest QBs this year? Obviously, Indiana Jones proved us wrong and proved the whole of Colts Nation wrong, probably the whole of America wrong. Maybe you can see where I'm going with this, though. The kind of era of second chance. I think 2024 and 2025 is showcasing that if it doesn't work somewhere, it doesn't need to be the end. It can really move on, and we're seeing players here who are having major success. Jared Goff sitting at 13th. Just flying through them.
Don't run the ball.
Yeah, it's. I would say that's really been a surprise for me this year, is that it hasn't been, Lamar, Burrow, Josh Allen, and Patty just constantly dominating everything. What about you, Ed?
I think I like that. So just before I move on to my one, I like that point. A just interesting counter question then. Do you think that the league is maybe moving more towards putting more faith in teams signing sort of a veteran quarterback like a Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Indiana Jones, rather than going and drafting one? Because really, out in the last few years, I know you mentioned Drake May and Bo Nix were in there, but really the draft has been a real lottery, hasn't it, for quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Is it safer to go and get a veteran who knows the league at least?
Yeah, I mean, I think the prime kind of debate topic there for us would be the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously chose to stick with JJ McCarthy, who is a complete unknown. I think the US media complete write-off of this kid is really uncalled for. He's played 3 games in the league, I think, obviously because of the injury. But, imagine the Vikings kept Sam Darnold. Imagine the Vikings kept Daniel Jones and started him. It's that.
We would have been back to Carson Wentz, mate, if that happened.
Yeah, we could literally probably record a 1-hour episode on the what if of not just Darnold at Minnesota, but also Daniel Jones. He was literally there. They let him go.
I think just before, so my view on this, Ed, is it's just, for me, and I don't know how with all the data, sports and analysis, maybe because Americans tend to go a bit more gut feely than trust the data. It's Occam's razor. Its progress isn't linear. It's just as simple as that. And I think, quarterbacks like Indiana Jones, Baker Mayfield, Sammy D, Jared Goff, even if you want to look at like a Matthew Stafford, for example, because I think the Stafford Goff was a rare win-win trade. Looking back at it, I think they've broken like GMs and like the draft system because a 22-year-old kid, unless that 22-year-old kid is a freak Peyton Manning or a freak Tom Brady, and into actually a pretty good team, but they just didn't get some wins one year because maybe that helped them out a little bit. A 22-year-old kid isn't going to save a franchise that's a piece of shit. and we can say that. Like, I don't say that like in a meaningful way, but it's just simply progress isn't linear. You can't write off. I still now, even now, I don't want to write off AR because I've seen what the ceiling can be, and if in some world it does work out with the Colts with Anthony Richardson, I'd be over the moon with that. But I could also see him going somewhere like Minnesota, like he'd probably suit LA, or even potentially Miami with the Florida connection. Who knows? But yeah. Anyway, good point, Ed.
So my biggest surprise, probably just before the season started, was the Dallas Cowboys trading Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers.
Oh yeah, I forgot that happened.
Not necessarily because blockbuster trades are unusual in the NFL. They're not, but more to the point, the sort of nature of the trade, 2 firsts and 2 seconds, I think it was, or 2 firsts and 1 second. There was definitely 2 firsts involved. But realistically, if you think before the season started, and certainly I would argue as the season's gone on, this has kind of been proven, Dallas and Green Bay probably weren't a million miles apart in terms of where they'd like to finish the season. And you've just gone and given a direct rival arguably the best defensive player in the league, or certainly one of the best defensive players in the league, handing them a clear advantage in your own conference for potentially, I mean, we don't know because we don't know what Dallas are going to do with those first round picks. I mean, there's talk this week that they're looking to trade for an edge, like a premier edge rusher. And you sit there thinking, you had one. Like, what are you doing? So I just that deal still sort of baffles me to this day. I'm really sort of unsure. I know it's Jerry's world and we're all kind of just living in it, but I don't really understand that because I still think, and certainly what my point there about how the season's gone is Dallas's offense is actually really good. You know, Nathan, when you were just reading out the quarterbacks this year, Dak Prescott's playing really well. George Pickens seems to have actually like put his head on this year and playing and just forgotten just playing football. You know, CD Lamb, they've got a really young offensive line as well. I think they've got 3 first-round picks on like the last 4 years on that offensive line. So that's a young, cheap offensive line that they could build around. You've got one of the best defensive players in the league and you trade him to a direct rival. I just cannot fathom or get my head around it still, and we're sort of 3 months down the line. So that's probably one of my biggest shocks of the season so far.
Yeah, I mean, look, I still can't believe we didn't pick up the phone. If it was just 2 firsts for Micah Parsons, I still can't believe we did not pick up the phone and think about that. You know, but we've got our own cap space hell coming up soon, so that's an off-season pod. So we'll get through the categories then. Your biggest negative, or the thing that's like, it doesn't have to be like, oh, this happened, but your biggest negative for the 2025 season. Who wants to go first?
I can just jump straight in if we go back the way we were just talking. So again, we're going back to the early days of the NFL season, one that sticks in my mind straight away. And the reason I find it's such a negative and bad thing is because football's such a violent sport where you're allowed to go out and sort of physically assault people. But Jalen Carter spitting at Dak Prescott, for me, spitting is the most vile thing you can do. I genuinely mean this when I say I'd rather be punched in the face than spat at, and I mean that sincerely, because I think spitting is disgusting. I think a game where you're allowed to, like I say, put your head down and run at full speed into somebody should be enough to give you the kind of, I don't know, that feeling of getting one over somebody. To spit at somebody, nope, disgusting. To get thrown out of the game before the season even started. It was the first game of the season. You got thrown out before the game had even started. No, that was disgusting. Jalen Carter, great player, but you're a tramp.
Nathan?
I wouldn't say that to his face.
I would say the AFC North, just in general. Like, that's one of my favourite divisions in football. It's usually so competitive. And, like, I've just pulled it up here. Pittsburgh lead it at 4-3. Cincinnati is second at 3-5. Baltimore third at 2-5. And Cleveland are last at 2-6.
Sound like the epic South.
Baltimore's starting to get healthy now. So, you know, if we win Sunday, which I'm sure we'll get on to in a minute, Pittsburgh will be 4-4. Lamar's apparently back this week, or maybe tonight. I'll have to check the injury report. They could be 3-5 and just run away with it. It seems like a crazy division, and it almost feels like a bit of a cheat division with the Browns. I honestly, like, Myles Garrett needs to get himself out of there. And
Indianapolis.
I think it's got to be a general manager decision why Shedeur Sanders isn't on the field right now. Dylan Gabriel looks so bang average. I just don't understand why they're not playing Shedeur, even to just get trade value back for him.
So the rumours I've heard on that, I say rumours, I've listened to a few podcasts. That's my rumour. That's my source. But the stuff I've heard on that is Shedeur Sanders was an owner pick. Like, it's Kevin Stefanski and I wanted to say Ryan Grigson. It's not Ryan Grigson.
And I think is the GM.
Yeah. They like really did not want to take Shedeur Sanders, like, but the owner overrode him, took Shedeur Sanders, and if you ask me, that is just disgusting thing to do, not only to Shedeur Sanders, but to Dylan Gabriel, to Joe Flacco who's there, and I mean, they've still got.
Don't forget. Pickett. Well, at the time he was there.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Kenny Pickett as well, and Deshaun Watson's still there.
Yeah, he's still there.
Like, that's an absolute mental thing to do. Carry on, Nathan. Sorry.
No, that's basically it. I just think the North in general would be how I answer that.
I think just quickly as well, if I'm right, and I'm happy to be fact checked on this, but I think the Cleveland Browns, if they signed Bailey Zappi and made him QB2 as well, I think Shador might even be QB3.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
Like what's the point of him being there?
Apparently, who was it? It might have been the Jets. The Jets rang up about Shador Sanders, and they had the cheek to ask for a second.
Wow. Oh my god.
I'm not sure if it was the Jets, so I'm not sure if I got the team right, but it was one of the struggling teams, maybe floating out, could we get something from Shador? And the Browns wanted a second from a fifth round quarterback who they're not going to play.
Crazy.
Jeez.
Absolute crazy.
Yeah. I mean, so have you given your negative? Yeah. So it's me. Yeah, miles behind. My negative, and I think this is a really a theme that is speeding up and going at such a fast speed that it's quite scary, and it's the media narrative to race to the bottom. And so we're a fan channel, so we get to express our feelings as a fan. That is the whole point. So my feelings on certain players are my feelings. But when I'm sat there watching the main, and it's not just the NFL, it's all sports, but when I'm sat there watching the main NFL channels, podcast, YouTubes, whatever, and the intelligence of the takes and just the absolute nothingness analysis, it's putting me off the game. And I really hate saying that, but it used to be, the famous saying is only good as your last throw as a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But now winners can't win. Like if a win, the Colts and Daniel Jones, it's like, well, they played no one. It's like, well, hold on a minute. We beat the Chargers, who have beat the Chiefs this year. We beat the Broncos. Oh, it was a lucky penalty. Like, well, that's just football. And it's not just us. Like, I'm just saying this as a Colts fan who's experienced this. Mm-hmm. We've only beat our team. Yeah, was meant to be a bad fucking team this year, so that's actually quite nice. But all the stuff it's they do it to build you up so they can rip you down. So they always have a take on something, right? They always have a right take somewhere. Like, how many mock drafts do we do? And I don't know if you guys want to expand on it because it is a long topic, but just what seems to be the race to the bottom of extreme takes and extreme reactions to get clicks and get interaction from mainstream media, it's just put me off the game, really.
I think it's interesting because for me, it's kind of like it upsets the apple cart. That's definitely what I've felt like the last few weeks with Indy, especially. Many kind of American media people will just do anything they can to talk India out of the conversation. And then this week, there's been viral posts of people talking us into the conversation. So-and-so backs Indianapolis. So-and-so says that the Colts are legit. It's like, who fucking cares what you think? Like, we're 7-1. Do you know what I mean? I can see what you're saying because so many, I think the unfortunate thing about this sport and the American media is how fast people are happy to change their opinion. You look at Denver, right? Follow podcast, Heed the Call. I'm not calling them out. I'm a big fan. But at the start of the year, there's question marks around Bo Nix. Can he take this team to the next level? The last 2 weeks, he's spectacular now. He's the reason they're there, whatever. I just think it's such a reactionary game in terms of media opinion. Would be my 50 pence to add to that. Yeah,
and I absolutely get it. Like, I I get it to an extent because I don't want to say like all media is bad and I get the premise of these clickbait shows. For me, it's just like, it's irritating. It's just irritating that, because I know as soon as we've got a tricky second half of the schedule, nobody's fucking denied that. So I don't know where this narrative of we only beat bad teams comes from, because nobody's denied that our schedule is backloaded. And as quite a self-aware fan, I know it won't just be the Colts this happens to, but like, we could lose to Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, which is a tough place to go and win.
Mm.
And it's like, everyone will be asked, see, I told you. So it's like, well, a minute, we're still 7-2. But it just, like, you win a game, you're the best, you're winning the Super Bowl, you lose a game, you're the worst, and everyone should be fired, sort of world we live in. It's just mental. But yeah, that was it. Because I could genuinely go on for about a couple of hours why, not saying Jonathan Taylor is the clear MVP right now, it's just stupid. But anyway, has anyone got a player of the season doing a shout out so far, a stat of the season, a number for the season?
Other than Jonathan Taylor?
Well, yeah. other than Jonathan Taylor, because he could have his own podcast.
Daniel Jones.
Yeah. I'm
being serious. I'm just gonna. I've been thinking about it for most of the day and trying to think, like, obviously outside of the Colts. I think, look, if we weren't Colts fans and we were doing this type of show, we'd be talking more about the Colts, ironically, for both like biggest surprise, MVPs. Because we spend all of our time talking about the Colts, we're obviously trying not to, because I think but the obvious sort of elephant in the room is the Colts have undoubtedly been the biggest surprise, have undoubtedly been the best team in football, have undoubtedly, for me, should be the MVP, but he won't be because it's a quarterback award. We know that. And because Patrick Mahomes has started slinging it again. And to your last point about media, I mean, they're almost salivating back in America now about Patrick Mahomes. Like, they are dribbling all over the shop about, because he's turned it back on again this year. And look, don't get me wrong, I'm a big Patrick Mahomes fan myself. I think I love watching Patrick Mahomes play football. But because he has turned on again, I think it's unlikely to not be Patrick Mahomes MVP. If the Chiefs go probably back to the championship game, which they're looking good again, aren't they? Let's be honest with you.
Yeah, they can.
Annoyingly, but you know that's football. But yeah, I think let's just talk about, you know, Jonathan Taylor. I think to kind of lead into a stat as well, I think he's one touchdown behind what Saquon did for the whole of last season already, isn't he? And we're only 8 games into the season.
Yeah.
Right.
That's insane.
And last year, Saquon took the league by storm. Like, everybody was raving about Saquon.
Rightly so as well.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's what I mean. This is kind of to bolster my argument for Jonathan Taylor, because I love Saquon Barkley. I think he's terrific. But for context, looking at, I think this is total rushing. It must be total rushing yards, because I didn't think he quite got to 2,000 last year, Barkley. But the stat I'm looking at here says for the whole of last year, he got 2,005 rushing yards. Jonathan Taylor's on 850 already this year.
Yeah.
We're 8 games in.
I'm looking at it now, actually.
Yeah. 12 touchdowns to Barkley's 13 on the whole of last year. 3 times this year, Jonathan Taylor scored 3 touchdowns in a game. He scored 6 against Tennessee on his own. I mean, they must be sick to the back teeth of seeing Jonathan Taylor. Yeah. But he is playing at a level that, I mean, few even within Indianapolis probably thought he could get to. I mean, we've always knew he's an outstanding back, but this has been something special, hasn't it?
This is Hall of Fame type stuff. That second 80-yard touchdown run.
Oh, yeah, brilliant.
That is one of the best touchdowns I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
I like that was unreal. But yeah, I agree. Jonathan Taylor, MVP. It is quite simple. For me, it's not a debate at this minute in time.
I do think he is getting attention. I think, you know, because you can't have the season he's having without getting.
You can't ignore it, mate. That's the thing. you just can't ignore it.
I'll tell you what I am interested in seeing, and I'll let somebody else talk. Is this Saturday? I think we're blackout again on Sky.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, playing. We're definitely on Sky. Because we're playing Pittsburgh. Now, I would argue that the reason that game's been selected by Sky is more to do with the fact we're playing the Steelers than it is the Indianapolis Colts that are playing, if that makes sense. I don't think they're necessarily jumping on our bandwagon. I think it's because the Steelers have got such a big following in the UK that they can get eyes on the Steelers being on TV, and the fact they're playing the Colts is a bit of a Brucey bonus. But the point I'm just going to get to, just harping back to your point there, Harrison, a little bit about Jonathan Taylor. I'll be interested in the build-up to the game, how much they talk about the Colts and how good Jonathan Taylor has been, versus Aaron Rodgers and Pittsburgh, who have been a bit average. They've been all right, haven't they? But they've not been. Jonathan Taylor deserves the airtime. Is the point I'm getting at? But I don't think he's going to get it. That's will probably mean that I won't put it on until 6 when it starts.
Nathan, before we get into looking forward, have you got any stats, players you want to shout out?
Yeah, I think I really wanted to talk about Tyler Warren. Leading the league in yards for tight ends right now on 492 with 3 scores. He's just completely unlocked an element of this offense that didn't really exist or hasn't for me as a Colts fan, for us as Colts fans for many, many years. But my actual choice is going to be Jackson Smith and Jigba. Pre the season, I was very high on this guy. Argued with friends, and I think I've said it on here. I predicted he was going to break out. He was going to have 150 catches. I said 1,000-yard season. He's on 819 now. The guy is averaging 117 yards a game. He is, I cross everything that he can stay healthy this year, because I'm genuinely intrigued to see what he can do. I can't remember the last time that a Seahawks wide receiver was kind of owning the league like this right now. And he's for sure. Tyler Warren obviously first, and then Smith and Jigba just behind.
Nice.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I've got a stat line for the season that I want to give you, but it does tie into my shout out for the season. Because this is ridiculous. I don't think you boys are ready for this. The Indianapolis Colts do not have a wide receiver this year to go over 100 yards in a game.
Yeah, that
is crazy. I was like, no. When I heard it, I was like, no, surely that's not true. They must have just meant the last game. Surely just meant the Titans game. No, not a single Indianapolis Colts wide receiver over 100 yards. Now, my shout out goes to Reggie Wayne. Because I think what he's done with this receiving core is unreal coaching. And that is a man obviously everyone knows the story of Reggie Wayne, the player. But as a coach, the separation Alec Pierce got on his first catch against the Titans, that was filthy. Go stop this stream now. Go back and watch that highlight. That was the cornerback was going for a drive-through, mate. The touchdown catch from Pittman Jr. Oh, if I was at safety or cornerback, I'd just stop playing. I'd be like, that's my career done. So I just and this is the thing about the Colts this year and why they are so good is because what do you take away? Because apart from Jonathan Taylor playing at a not a Ballon d'Or level, MVP level. He might win the Ballon d'Or if he carries on going this way.
Give him the Ballon d'Or as well, mate. Give him all the awards.
That Rio Ferdinand meme.
Yeah.
But apart from Jonathan Taylor being this good, he's being this good because we finally have a passing game, and it's not just fuck it, Alec Pierce is down there somewhere passing game.
Well,
but yeah,
just
so
just
shout
on
out
that
to
point.
go on, Nick. Yeah,
On that point, who do you know who leads the AFC in receiving touchdowns right now?
Receiving touchdowns.
Oh,
You're going to say, I think I'm just going to throw a wild one out there. Is it Jonathan Taylor?
Nope, it's not.
See, I thought because he has had a few receiving. No, is it
I
a
know
Colt?
Yeah, it's a Colt. I'll give you it. Links to Harrison's surprise. Links to the receiving group. Who is it?
I know Pittman's probably beat his record high. Is it Pittman? Wow,
yeah.
With six,
he's leading the AFC with 6. Yeah.
Oh man,
I mean, I think he's fourth in. He's like fourth in the whole of the NFL. Yeah, he is. He's joint third in the whole of the NFL.
I know his career high was 5, wasn't it? Which is weird, but yeah.
Yeah, see, I've always sort of picked more as a sort of move the sticks receiver as opposed to a sort of touchdown, which is weird for his, like you say, for his body size and the matchups he could get in the end zone. But I love Pittman. He got 95 yards at the weekend, didn't he? He's the closest to 100 yards.
Yeah.
Well,
he nearly got there. He nearly got there.
This is a shout out to the coaching as well, because they said, do you want to be put in for it? We can put you in. And no, we don't need to. Do you know what I mean? There's not a diva there. But anyway, Nathan, I know you're on attack. Go on.
Yeah,
go on,
just before we move on from that, I just want to say shout out to Nathan, because he kind of called that before the season started. I remember being on this pod and Nathan saying, because he plays a lot of fantasy, if you play fantasy, don't pick a Colts wide receiver because there's too many mouths to feed. You are absolutely right. But you're right, though. Like, I don't play fantasy, but I would have thought a Colts receiver is probably not a player you want necessarily.
Yeah. But I thought it was because we'd be crap, but
no. Nathan predicted this. He saw it coming.
Mate. I do have Warren in 2 leagues, which is always a nice thing.
That's good, yeah.
So yeah, I know you're on a tight out, Nathan. So we'll end up this show a little bit shorter because, like I say, it's sort of the halfway season. This isn't really a review of the game. It's just more of a what's been going on. The Pittsburgh Steelers coming up, and this is a tough one. Obviously, as Colts fans, we can respect Mike Tomlin and what he's done for the Steelers, and over the time we haven't had a great record there. I mean, for me, it's simple. Like, don't shy away now. The lights are on us. Go win this game and make everybody take note of the Colts are a real team, because the media will love Aaron Rodgers. The media love Pittsburgh, like we were saying. And I think Shane Steichen runs an offense that's too modern for Tomlin's defense. I think it's sort of horses for courses, and even as a Charger coach, even as a Eagles, he was the offensive coordinator of the Eagles. Even as an Eagles coach, he just seems to have the answers for Tomlin's defense. What do you guys see coming up for this game?
I think you're right. I mean, I was pulling up the scores in readiness for the show, and the last 2 times we've met the Steelers with Shane as our head coach, we've won, and we've scored 57 points against them. He just seems to have a way against the Steelers defense, which is, struggling right now, obviously coming off the back of 2 losses to the Bengals and the Packers. Watching Pittsburgh and Dublin, they really seem to struggle against the run, and seeing that live was great, because I just kept thinking, hang on, week 8 we're playing them. I think it'll be a bit more of an ugly kind of old-fashioned run game with Taylor. I don't think we'll see all the slow motion lines separating blocks and stuff. It'll be tough football. But I think you hit the nail on the head. Shane's had his way with Tomlin defenses in the last 3 years, and I think we really will see that again.
Ed?
Yeah, I mean, that fills me with joy hearing that they struggled against the run, because boy, are they in for a day then if Jonathan Taylor gets going. I watched the game against Green Bay, and the player that stood out for me was Tucker Kraft for Green Bay, their tight end. Not just the sort of the catches, but the yards after the catch. He was sort of bulldozing their defensive backs. And I just kept thinking, what is Tyler Warren going to be doing to these next Sunday? But because it's the same sort of principle. So to hear you say they struggled against the run, Nathan, to see them myself last week and struggle massively against a big body tight end. Yeah. And then you think, if that doesn't work, we've still got Pierce, Downs and Pittman that we can kind of use. And the Steelers have been struggling a bit. I'm not getting carried away because it's the Colts, and I'll still never go that far. But I'd be relatively confident. I think we need to get old man Rodgers, put him under some pressure. I'd be surprised if we get to him much, because he tends to throw it away before he'd rather sort of throw it away than take a sack. But I think if we can disrupt him, make him uncomfortable, and then just kind of get our offense on the pitch as much as possible, tire their defense out, pretty much do what we've been doing all season, then that's the blueprint. I knew Steichen had a good record against Pittsburgh, Nath, but I didn't realise we'd scored that many points with those offenses. So it does kind of make you think, doesn't it? This Sunday, with his best offense, we'll probably lay a big fat egg and do fuck all, because that's the way football goes, isn't it? That would be my key. Just looking at Tuckcraft, just thinking what Tyler Warren could do. But let's not underestimate Tomlin and the Steelers. They're a good football team.
Yeah, they're a solid football team. I just think for the Colts, the offense, get past that first line of defense. I think you get past that first line of defense. I think the backfield's there for you boys. And the Colts on defense, just force Rodgers into something he doesn't like. And I know that's quite such a simple thing to say, right? But force him to run up the middle. Like this is the game where, as edge rushers, you don't have to worry about coming back inside, because force him up the middle, because he's not going to want to run it. And and if they turn up in them disgusting uniforms, I will be writing a complaint. I will be writing a complaint to the NFL commissioner for making the Colts play teams in disgusting uniforms. Well, anyway, thanks everyone for watching. I'll let these boys go, but before they go, they know what they have to do. They have to give me their score prediction. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Colts 31, Pittsburgh 17.
How close were you last weekend, by the way, Nath?
I know. It felt good for a while.
Honestly, if they found some bottle and went for a touchdown at the end, if they just kicked that field goal, man, you was on there. You were close. I'm going to go Colts 33, Steelers 21.
Yeah, I like it. And you know me, thanks for joining Southbound tonight, and join us on Monday after the Colts 38, the Steelers 9.